Welcome to Something Came from Baltimore. My name is Tom Gouker, and I will be your host today. Remember that Something Came from Baltimore is a jazz, blues, and R&B podcast and radio show, and it's not really about Baltimore. This week we zoom. We go all the way up to Harlem to speak with jazz pianist Emmet Cohen. During the pandemic, Emmet Cohen and his trio went live and broadcasted to the world. The result is live from Emmet's place. Now at 100K with fans on YouTube, Emmet Cohen's trio has over 100 plus broadcasts and has touched more music fans than he has realized. His first album out of the pandemic is called Uptown in Orbit on the Mack Avenue record label with a release date of 10/28/2022. And before we get into the show, remember to subscribe, share, and play volume up or volume down of Something Came from Baltimore. We need your support. And also check out the friends of the podcast, Neon Jazz and Adult Music. The links are in the show notes. The Beatles Come to America is coming back next year, 2023. And you don't want to miss a thing, so you want to subscribe, and the link is in the show notes. And Cash App and Venmo, so we love it. Patreon is out. Let's get into the show. Let's check this out. Emmet Cohen, welcome to Something Came from Baltimore.
Hey, thank you so much, Tom. Great being here.
You've been in my subconscious for over, like, it feels like a year. Like, your name has popped up because I subscribed to your YouTube channel a while ago. And, I'm on YouTube also with my stuff. So you always come up, and I'm checking out a lot of the shows. And so it's really weird to talk to you because, like, you've been in my forefront, and now I'm like, oh, I got this album. Then I was like, I got to talk to him because I feel like I've already been connected to you emotionally. I guess a lot of people felt that way because this concert series has really taken off.
Yeah, it's been 2.5 years already. Thank you for checking it out. I never realized what a tool the internet, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff could be for an artist. Especially an independent artist in this postmodern time where it's just direct to consumer, right? But it just started out as a video of us playing, on an iPhone. I just set the thing up on a stack of books, and we just played. It was the first week of the pandemic, and this promoter Derek Kwan out of Lawrence, Kansas said, "We like to support artists in this time. You're supposed to play here March 23rd, 2020, and if you just play, from your house, do something for the world." We'll give you the full fee. And, we were like, full fee. We just had an entire 12 plus months of gigs canceled. So, that's really kind. We'll take that. And it turned out to be something that the world needed. And jazz has always brought people together in different forms. And this was just another form. And the mythology of the thing worked out too, because we're right in Harlem. And this is the exact block that they were doing Harlem Rent parties on. 100 years ago in the Roaring 20s. Now we're in the Roaring 20s again, doing it's the pandemic instead of prohibition, and we're doing a rent party where we can invite people in virtually, and it was a really necessary thing for a lot of people in that time. So I'm glad to have connected with so many wonderful people on the internet.
I've been doing this for 6 years. I've looked at people's social media, and you have a team behind you because it looks like there's multiple cameras going on. There's editing. Everything is uniform and correct and beautiful looking. And I was like, I said, he must have a team behind him that is working it. It's not coming from Mack Avenue, that's for sure. Right?
No, this is an independent project up here in Harlem. And it started just the three of us in one room. And I bought microphones, and I was using OBS on my computer, filtering my iPhone through that and setting it up on a camera. If you look at the Cyril Aimé video, the most famous one, La Vie en Rose, when the drums get going, you can see the camera bouncing up and down because the tripod is so weak. And I had a friend, his name is Alex Weitz. We went to college together. He's a good saxophone player, and he wrote to me, said, when I get back to New York after this quarantine is over in Arizona, which turned out to be a couple of months he was there. He said, I got this ATEM switcher, which is, I guess, something similar to what they use in sporting events to follow the ball. And he said, I got some cameras, and I'd love to try to take it to the next level. And we had a couple of days of experimentation when he got back. And everything. We worked for hours to try to get the delay right and try to get the color right and try to get the placement of the cameras, the setup, and it was just a continual work in progress. And then there's a sound man whose name is Kelvin Grant from DC, lives in Philly, and commuted up every Monday for the show. He just wrote to me, just, hey man, I've been watching your stream and you guys look like you could use a little help. And I said, no, we definitely can't afford that in the budget. And then a few days went by, and I said, well, why don't you come by and see what we do? And he came by and like just relieved a ton of pressure, and it sounded great. And we've been kind of tweaking things on that end too. And so that's a sound guy and the video guy. And then I have somebody who I have working on the back end. His name was Brian Ang for many months of the pandemic, and then it transferred to my man Spencer Porter. It's nice to speak their names too, because they don't get their due.
There's artists that are on the edge. Like, you're a younger artist, so you're now finding out what the internet can do for you. That you're able to connect to people all over the world, which is great. But there's like the time and money, and and like, you can always document what you're doing. I'm documenting this concert, but what you're doing is kind of creating an elevated version of documentation, which is like almost like a show, and it has that clean look to it. It's pretty amazing, and I really haven't seen people do that on the scale that you're doing. So, but I do have some notes. I wrote that this is a warm sense of peace. There's beauty of sound. It's calming, and it's community gathering. These are the things that I get when I watch your videos. We're gonna play a version of Joy Brown. She did "I Got It Bad and It Ain't Good." It's gonna blow you away. So we're gonna do a sample of that. We're coming back. The elevation piece. No one else is doing this. So in my mind, I don't know who else. But what you're doing is that you're in there. You're in that matrix now. I'm aware of you.
Well, I'm so glad.
In a good way or a bad way. It's either or, right?
Some people love us, some people hate us.
Are you getting negative comments? Because it's wonderful. I don't like. It's a shame everyone is a critic.
YouTube is a negative place in general, and I think that some people are turned off by the negativity there, but it's overwhelmingly positive. Just when you're doing something so public, there are always going to be people who come after you for a certain thing. So that's just something to be mindful of. But I think, for our community of musicians too, it was an overwhelmingly positive thing, especially in the first months, 6-8 months, a year in. We would have someone over and they said, I haven't played with a band in a year. And this is so special to me. And I think that's part of what made the stream so special too, because a lot of those musicians hadn't played with anyone in so long. And so there was this yearning to connect with other musicians in person, and we were capturing that energy. There were little communities that sprung up, and we were lucky to find something that connected with people, and that people wanted to come every week and just share a moment. Try to keep it relaxed too. It wasn't like, and now we're going to play this, and this is the set list, and this is the program. We jotted down a list of tunes, try to find some common ground, and like, what do you all feel like doing next? Made it a community.
So what I'm reading about the bio piece is that this album that we're talking about, Uptown and Orbit, your trio is very tight. You guys have been playing forever, for a really long time, and that you just threw in a couple of new people who are new to you to kind of maybe slant your music styles, like Sean Jones for one, right? Am I getting that right? Like, you never worked with him before, or the saxophonist, and I didn't write the saxophonist names down, and I wanted to that.
His name is Patrick Bartley, and
it was amazing.
And we have quite a relationship with Patrick over the years. He went to high school with the bass player Russell Hall, and we've been playing together in various configurations. But he was one of the people that really made Emmet's Place feel like what we wanted it to feel like. When we played with Patrick on the stream, maybe it has something to do with Patrick. He's a streamer too, and he plays saxophone on Twitch and answers questions and has a Discord and does all that kind of stuff. But he did that solo on After You've Gone that went pretty viral. He just summed up really what we wanted the feeling to be. And then Sean Jones came, and it also was that same feeling. Like, this is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be joyous. It's supposed to be intense. It's supposed to be just roots, like roots out of the ground,
Uh-huh.
roots into the ground, you know, just a connection to the ancestors, like just a spiritual thing where the energy in the room just is so powerful that you can feel it through the screen. I think, you know, I wanted to capture that then in the recording studio. And I put together two musicians from slightly different generations who had never played together before, who I knew would sound, you know, I knew they would sound great together.
Sean Jones is Baltimore, so he's our people. You know that
Oh yeah, for sure.
he's doing a really great job of keeping the community tight and close. You actually are coming to the Keystone Corner on December 15th and through the 18th, and you're bringing the jazz legend Houston Persons. I wanted to know, how did you get a hold of him?
Houston and I've been friends for maybe 10 years. We've been on the jazz cruise, and he's just one of the most incredibly soulful, powerful, and legendary musicians alive. He's 87, and we uh, got to know each other, and I just tried to be around him as much as possible, and tried to play with him. And over the years, we've been playing together, and we kind of started a project, a band together, and have done many gigs, and we're best friends. We talk on the phone all the time. He sends me books in the mail and newspaper clippings and stuff, and we talk about the news. He's up on the current events and everything, and he's just the salt of the earth, and taught me a lot about the blues. He worked with Etta Jones and plays behind singers like no other saxophone player, and it's just all about the melody. And I learned so much from Houston, and I'm so glad we get to present our project and get a chance to travel and play with him. It's really inspiring for me, and I can't wait to bring it to the Keystone Corner. That's our yearly engagement around the holidays, and we love it very much.
He has a 1976 album called Pure Pleasure, and he's a good-looking guy. He's very, very attractive. He's there, but he has that woman behind him, which was like a really 70s kind of vibe. You know, like, I'm going to stand behind my man kind of look. And that picture, they used to have it with beer commercials and stuff. Like, I love my drinking husband, or, you know, I'm supportive of whatever endeavor he does. So that was a timepiece. And I actually was just, that grabbed my attention. And then he went to the Keystone. I was trying to get a hold of him for an interview, and I wanted to start there and work either backwards or forwards with my questions. And the album is actually very pure pop. It's like a very big pop album.
He's just a melodist of the highest order, and whatever style of music he's playing, people relate to that, and I've learned a lot from him.
Your album comes out on the 28th. We're doing our interview on the 23rd. It's on the Mack Avenue label. It's Uptown in Orbit. I just want to go over a couple of tracks because we're going to play a couple of tracks, which is the amazing piano work. Finger Buster is just mind-blowing. It's already out as a single, and it makes me exhausted just to listen to it. How did you find that song? Is that something that you had maybe you trained on when you were younger?
No, it's more of a recent thing. Especially during the pandemic, I got a chance to go back and listen to and try to learn the music of Willie Lion Smith, James P. Johnson, Fats Waller, and some other stride pianists, Scott Joplin, Jelly Roll Morton, and really just tried to get inside of their music and their tunes. And I connected with Willie Lion Smith very deeply, and he wrote that tune Finger Buster, and I've heard him play it a few different ways. And I said, you know, what happens if we take this solo piano arrangement and we put it in a trio context and orchestrate it out? And we tried it and played it a few times and took it on the road and performed it for different audiences, and that's how it evolved, and became one of the staple pieces that I like to play. And I love to conjure the spirits and the ancestors, and to play Willie the Lion's music. I feel like is important because not many pianists perform his music, speak his name, and carry the legacy. And it's one of the things that brought jazz to where it is today in a big way.
Yeah, what a find, and what a great opportunity that you're able to review stride artists. You know, if you're a piano player, you'd think that would be something you would do maybe in your training, like earlier in your career. But it's a good opportunity that you were able to kind of focus on it, kind of really dig into it.
Yeah, I just fell in love with it, and I think you know, people have to follow their hearts in a big way, because then you're not happy playing the music that you're playing if you don't. So I connected personally with that music, so that's the direction that I'm going. You know, it's not for everybody,
Oh
but
no, I love it. It's like
but
wow,
one,
it's great.
one of the other things we did with that track is that my drummer Kyle Poole, he is also a great producer and deals with production and post production, and he got this tape machine. He said, you know, what happens if we take a couple of sections of this piece, especially the solo piano, roll it back, like record it back to tape, to the old school tape machine, and then print it back to Pro Tools. And so we actually put like an old tape machine feeling on a couple of sections of that piece uh, for the recorded version.
Yeah,
Um,
give it a little grainy, scratchy feel,
it
like
kind
just
of
slightly.
Yeah, it kind of gave
Yeah,
it this other kind of energy, and really showed the juxtaposition between the old and the new, and what it means and how it feels, and I think it's pretty cool.
definitely. Well, that's how you start the album, but the end the album with Bragging Brass, which kind of has some stride to it also, and that's like a full piece. We're gonna play a sample of that also. Is there anything that you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that piece is by Duke Ellington from the 30s, and it's a similar thing. Instead of a solo piano piece, that's a big band piece, and then we reduced it for piano trio. So kind of went the other way. You know, piano trio is a big happy medium between solo piano and big band, and when medium sized group. You can do a lot with the textures of the piano, bass, and drums. And this this album is called Uptown in Orbit, and Duke Ellington has a record called Blues in Orbit,
Yeah,
which I think you know, really, I wanted to make a nod to Duke Ellington. I live on Edgecombe Avenue in New York City, and he also lived on Edgecombe Avenue in the time of the last century. And this is kind of our connection to him. And I wanted to close the record with this piece, and do a nod to Duke Ellington, who's been just had a huge impact on the music of America, the music of the world. Had the longest standing orchestra and career, almost produced over 2,000 compositions, and just had such a monster impact on everything. He's a hero of mine, and I wanted to honor that in this way.
wow, yeah, that's great. We're gonna play a sample of that. That to me, remember the compilations like Jazz on a Rainy Day CDs
Yeah,
that, yeah, that came out like maybe in the 80s, 90s, that people would just go, oh, I know what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get some kind of like mellow kind of Ben Websterish,
yeah,
kind of vibe, and that's this song reminds me of. I was like, oh, I could see that on a modern day, like chill out. Now
yeah,
I guess you would do it on Spotify. It would be jazz chill, and I yeah,
yeah.
this is your piece for the jazz chill.
Yeah, that piece was written by Russell Hall, the bass player, and I wanted to feature him on the album. He had such a big part of Emmett's Place, and of the trio sound, and we are best friends and worked together for a long time. And he's a great composer. I wanted to feature one of his pieces, so I orchestrated and arranged it for quintet with Sean and Patrick. And so this is Russell's tune called "The Loneliest."
Wow. We're gonna play a sample of that, and we're gonna finish off with Uptown in Orbit, where you have a great, Sean Jones trumpet and Patrick Bartley saxophone. It's amazing. Like that section it works really. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Yeah,
glad you connected with it, Tom.
yeah. We're gonna play that. I know you're a piano player, but but it's my show, so I'm gonna play that segment there so they can see how amazing it is.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you
I'm
appreciate
not perturbed.
it. It's a part of the song, so it's a piece of the overall piece. So it's
Cool,
good.
cool.
I don't have any other questions for you. I like the mosaic piece where it's like a sound collage. It's interesting. I don't know. You probably could have went longer with it. Because there's so much great stuff that you have available, and then there's some tracks I was like, "Ooh, I would like the bass more." Like the stuff is funky, and I was like, "Ooh, pump that bass up."
Yeah. That
That's
was that's the Cedar Walton tune. That's Kyle's feature. a lot of times when we play. And I said, you know, we went on the production route for this album, and I said, why don't you take your feature to the studio and create a soundscape if you'd like, with some of the soloing that you did. And so that's like a feature for Kyle, not only in on the drums but also on production too. So he kind of took it to outer space, which matches with the in orbit feel, you know.
Definitely. I think we're done. I appreciate it. I got enough. I hope you. Thank you for talking to me today. And
Cool.
yeah, my Zoom thing is timing out, so I think they're gonna shut me down in a couple minutes. So Emmet Cohen, thank you very much for joining me today on Something Came from Baltimore.
Tom, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I hope everyone enjoys the album, and I hope to see everyone at the Keystone Corner.